Hey there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at Frog Knight Ribbit Royale by Kent Garfield.
Frog Knight Ribbit Royale is a game that just funded on Kickstarter not too long ago, and it's been sending out to backers. Fulfillment is going on. This is a game for 3 to 15 players, so it plays quite a bit of players in this one, and it is just simply surviving. You want to be the last person left alive on the board, and you're either playing as a frog or as a prince or knight or a human. And this is all about just vying for the love of the princess in this game. And you're going to be battling. You're going to be positioning yourself strategically on the board, trying to survive different apocalypses or whatever's happening. A lot of chaos involved in this game. Let's take a look at it down below. We'll come back and share our thoughts as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, here's Frog Knight Ribbit Royale on the table here. Let me show you guys how this roll and move game works. Roll and move, something we don't typically feature too often on Love to Hate. But we're going to show you how this one works. And this is quite an unusual game as it plays for up to 3 to 15 players. And so this is a game that you can play with lots of people. And the theme to this is that there are lots of people all fighting for the love of the princess. And so you can play as either a frog character, and you are working for the frogs to be the last ones to be able to vie for the princess's love, assuming that you are actually a prince in disguise or something of the sorts. Or you can fight as a human, of course, or you can be some sort of creature. There's not really too much going on with the characters here. Not too much theme built into that, but that is the idea behind this. And so you're going to place your character anywhere you want on the board. Doesn't matter, starting with the youngest player, and you're going to have these lily pad tokens here on the green circle spaces. And how this game works is players are going to be dealt a hand of 1 yellow, 1 blue, and 1 green card. And these cards are represented by the regions on the board. You've got your yellow region here, the center. You've got your blue region, which is circling around the center region. And then you have your green region, which is on the outside. And the further you go, the more valuable those cards are. These cards from the green deck are going to have high numbers on them, while the cards from the yellow deck are going to have generally smaller numbers on them. And so you're going to get 1 of each, and then you're ready to begin the game. On your turn, you're going to roll the d6, and whatever number you get, you are going to choose whether you want that number of cards or to move that number of spaces, or some combination of the two. So obviously I rolled a 1. I would only get to either move 1 space, and when you move, you have to move to a connecting circle, and you can see that there are lines here connecting. If you choose to take a card, you're going to take a card from the deck in which the region your character is currently in. So if I am this green glob creature here, I would draw from the blue deck. And to give you an idea of what kind of numbers we're talking about here, the yellow cards are generally going to have numbers 1 through 5 or 6 or so. There are going to be some that extend beyond that, of course. The blue deck, obviously, those are going to be a little bit higher. Going all the way up as far as 10 even. And there are going to be some blue cards in the deck here, which are going to give you special things you can do on your turn, such as defending yourself against someone's attack or running away from a battle, which is nice. And the green ones obviously are going to be a bit higher, going on into the double digits, you can see there. Now, again, you can split up what you roll and choose to take. If you rolled a 3, you could choose to move 1 space and take 2 cards. That's the idea. Now, if you move onto one of these lily pad tokens, you're going to remove that token from the board, and you're going to draw from the challenge deck up here, and you're going to encounter some sort of enemy. And this enemy is going to have a level, and you're going to need to play up to 5 cards to hopefully equal or beat that level. And if you are successful, then you get to keep this card, and it's going to give you some benefit throughout the course of the game, such as this one here says your reward is to increase your battle total by 9 points. And so whenever you're in a battle, you automatically have 9 points in addition to your up to 5 cards that you play from your hand. If you lose this battle, however, if you don't have enough to beat the level, to meet or exceed the level, then you are killed and you are eliminated from the game. And too bad. That's how it breaks sometimes. Now, hopefully you survive and you get to continue on. When another player moves into the same space as another player, then a battle ensues. And how this works is the attacking player is going to play up to 5 cards from their hand face down on the table. After they have decided which cards they're going to play and how many cards, then it will go to the defending player. They get to play up to 5 cards face down as well. And then they flip their cards simultaneously. Highest number wins. Then at that point, you can possibly play some of your blue cards that allow you to alter your cards that have been played, or perhaps they can let you run away from the battle. All players start the game with one of these runaway cards, letting you move 2 spaces away from a battle. And if you are the attacking player and you win, then the defending player is eliminated off the board. If the defending player wins, then the defending player has a choice to make. They can either choose to go on the offensive and make their own counterattack against the player who was originally attacking, or they can choose to take prize support, which prize support is something that you win if you win a battle. And you're going to get to draw 3 cards from the deck in which region you currently are in, where the battle is taking place. Now, there is one final thing that you can play with, and that is the King of the Hill. And that is if you move onto this center space right here, which has a crown on it, and you stay there for 1 full turn, not moving off of it, nobody coming and attacking you and killing you, then you get to take the King of the Hill card. And what the King of the Hill card acts like is a second life. And so if you ever lose a battle, you can spend the King of the Hill card to remain in the game, and you are going to be okay. Now, one other thing to take note here is that when you are drawing cards from these decks, there are some cards in there. There's not many, but there are a few in the decks that say instant destruction. And this is going to be something that always causes the players to be leery of venturing far out to the outer parts of the board away from the castle. Because when this card comes up, this one in particular, it says instant destruction to everyone in the green area. So when that happens, if you are in the green area, you are at risk of immediately dying. The only thing that will save you is rolling the d6, and hopefully you roll a 3. If you roll a 3, you survive the instant destruction, but you immediately have to move into the blue region if you're in the green region, and you are allowed to continue to play the game. However, if you roll a 1 or a 2, then you are killed and you are removed off the board. Now, there are cards that also say instant destruction for the blue zone and blue and green zone. They can both be destroyed at the same time. It's the same idea. You roll the d6. If you get a 3, you survive. If you don't, you're out. And from that point forward, once those zones are destroyed, you cannot play in them. You have to move further into the board, and all the battling will ensue on a tighter space on the board. So this is a way to kind of constrict the board and force you to have to battle it out and speed the game up. That's the gist of the game. It's the last person to survive is the winner. And if that's you, then you win. And that is how you play Frog Knight Ribbit Royale. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. And we're back. And now Sam and I are going to share our thoughts on gameplay footage of a game we played with our kids. And so, Sam, when you see this, and you know we're playing it here with our kids, what do you feel about this game?
It definitely felt like a kid's game. It seemed interesting. Frogs, that's not something that we see a lot of. The cards were really funny.
Okay.
The kids, I don't think, appreciated that as much because only half of them can read. But I mean, it looked like a fun family game.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Box says ages 5 to 95. And even though Ford, our 4-year-old, he's kind of playing with us in this footage you guys are seeing, he understood the concept of wanting to beat the other players by playing high cards. I don't think he really understood how you get those cards. But our other 2 kids, who are both 7 and 9, they completely understood that, and it was something they could grasp, and they did fine. They played on their own for the most part. So yeah, I would agree with you. I think this is a family game. I think this is one that plays well with kids. And it's one where the kids stand just as much of a chance of winning as the adults do. So I think that's the definition of a kid's game.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you on that. You mentioned the funny cards. I do think the cards are pretty funny in this game. Just kind of hilarious artwork, and the names on the cards make this game humorous, and that's a big highlight of the game. I do enjoy that. Let's talk a little bit about the mechanics and how this game works. You're either moving yourself to get more cards, depending on what ring you're in, and those cards can be higher numbers, hopefully, if you're in the right ring, or you're trying to put yourself in a battle with another player just simply to eliminate them, or possibly eliminating yourself if you're not too careful. Sam, how do you feel about that as a non-gamer?
It felt almost like a card game, like War or something like that. So again, something I was familiar with. Easily understandable for kids, for sure. It's numbers. They understand that.
Right.
And the War part was fun. I mean, our kids would do it to us just to, it's fun to do with Dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it's easy to understand, a pretty fun concept.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I think it's something that the kids can really get on board with because, oh, look, I've got big, double-digit number cards here in my hand. Let me go over there and smack that upside the head. I think that's something they really got on board with. Now, when you're holding, ones, twos, fours, little small cards, it can kind of feel like, man, people are really gunning for me and I don't stand a chance. And this does have player elimination involved in it, and notoriously that is something that has not gone over well in many board games. And you're going to experience that with this game, and that, you get eliminated in the first 5 minutes of the game. What are you doing for the next 30 minutes?
You may have a crying kid.
Right. Which is why I think I would recommend this, being a game that is obviously not meant to be taken too seriously.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be the star of the night. In fact, this could even be the game that you kind of put up on the table while other things are kind of going on around the table. Like, for instance, maybe there's a football game going on, or there's chips and dip over there in the corner, and you can, it's my turn, let me come back over to the table and do what I'm doing. And then, I think this is kind of just a casual game that happens while other things are kind of going on around it. With kids have short attention spans, and so maybe that really works well with them in the sense of, ooh, I've got a chance to knock Dad out. I'm going to go for it. Oh, it didn't work out. He knocked me out. Well, I'm going to play with my toys. Kind of thing. I appreciate that sometimes because, like I said, kids have a short attention span. And so whenever it's not their turn and they're just kind of over here doing whatever, then that can kind of lose
still come back
the
to
luster.
The game and understand.
Yeah, and so I think this works well in that regard. Sam, for you as a non-gamer, I mean, I gotta imagine that the strategy level with this is not really high with this game. It's like we've said, it's kind of a lower lower brainwave kind of thinking involved with this game. What do you think as far as that goes, being a non-gamer?
I mean, if you can play with kids, you can play with non-gamers. So I think, it's easy to understand. It's a fun little game to play. I think it's a great one to bring to the table with non-gamers. It's a great family game. Yeah,
I think I would really agree with that as well. I think, it's not going to be something that burns your brain or makes you feel like you really had to work hard in this one. This is just going to be really casual, really laid back kind of experience with this game. So, let's get to our pros and cons with Frog Knight Ribbit Royale. Sam, what were the things that you really found enjoyable about this game?
I always enjoy something that I can play with the kids. In a way, it's a learning game as well because of the numbers and having to figure out which one is higher than the others. So I like that as a mom. And it's easy to understand. It's a pretty quick game, easy setup, funny. So definitely a lot of good pros for this game.
Okay. Anything that you weren't too gung-ho about.
I mean, I do, as someone who doesn't want to deal with kids losing and crying, I feel like, there was some that lost very quickly.
Okay.
But, that's just how the dice rolls sometimes.
Yeah, something you kind of have to roll with, perhaps.
Yeah.
And it's not just with this game. That's something that happens in just about every game.
Yeah.
Losing and, it just can happen pretty quickly in this game, for sure. So let's get to final scores. But before I get to final scores, I do want to say I think this is probably one that me as a gamer, I don't know that I would ever really play much outside of with kids.
Yeah.
It is just getting cards and having the right cards you need to be able to battle. And certainly you can try to increase your odds of getting good cards by going to certain parts of the board. Outside of that, this is really kind of just like you mentioned, war on a board, and certain parts of the board can blow up, which is really cool. I do enjoy that aspect. I think that's really kind of cool. That's kind of that how that goes with this. So final scores on this one, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. How do you feel about Frog Knight Ribbit Royale?
I'd probably give it a 6.9.
Okay, 6.9. Solid kids game, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I think this is going to be about a 6.4, somewhere around that ballpark. As I've mentioned, I think it's one that I would really play with my kids. Outside of that, I don't know how much of a gamer strategic game this is going to be. It's meant to be more of a casual gaming experience. So runs a little bit long for my liking. The box says 20 to 40 minutes. If there was maybe more cards that cost more explosions to happen to kind of restrict you to have to battle out those last few fights, I think that would kind of speed up the gameplay a little bit, which would kind of decrease the gameplay time on it. So, but that's our thoughts and feelings on Frog Knight Ribbit Royale, one that you would recommend playing with non-gamers.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, there you go. Try it out with kids and family. I think this is a good one to have on game night with your family. So check it out.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.